China will use whatever means available, including military means, to achieve the national reunification. So wait and see the consequences being unfolding.
US Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan is clearly not being well received by China. As China sees Taiwan as a breakaway province, the visit has sparked intense tensions between the two powerful countries, China and the United States.
If you ask any US military officer, he will tell you for sure that the defeat in Korea has ever been carved into their psyche and the bones. Ever since then, the United States military always wanted to avoid a direct conflict with Chinese military.
The situation takes us back to the 1950s, when the US was pushed back by China in the Korean War. So what really happened in 1950? Let's understand.
This was in 1950. The Chinese People's Volunteers pushed the American troops by several hundred kilometers way below parallel 38.
When Korea was liberated from Japanese control in 1945, at the end of the Second World War, the United States and the Soviet Union agreed to divide the country temporarily at the 38th parallel north of the equator. The 38th parallel north is a circle of latitude that formed the border between North and South Korea prior to the Korean War. This division resulted in the formation of two countries, Communist North Korea and Democratic South Korea. 5 years later, North Korea's communist leader Kim Il-sung decided to try to reunify Korea under his control. Kim launched a surprise invasion of South Korea on 25th June 1950, and by August, North Korea forces had swept across South Korea. At the time, American forces held only a small defensive perimeter in the country's southeast. However, in September, the United States launched a bold counter-offensive led by General Douglas MacArthur. Soon after, US forces drove the North Koreans back to the 38th parallel. This was the first hot war of the Cold War.
Before General MacArthur and his US troops marched across the parallel 38, China officially gave warning to the United States not allow its troops to cross beyond parallel 38. Otherwise, China will have no other option but to take action. And China relayed the message to the United States through the Indian ambassador to China. Can you believe it? And the United States and General MacArthur completely ignored. They concluded that China was in no position to put in a fight against the United States in North Korea.
It demonstrated the United States' continued commitment to containment, the idea that the United States would eventually defeat communism by containing its spread. But it did not work.
General MacArthur, as a result, lost his job as one of the highest regarded US generals, and the US military has never suffered another defeat as miserable as this one.
As American forces approached the Chinese border in late November 1950, communist Chinese leaders were fearful of an invasion by the US. So China sent tens of thousands of Chinese soldiers flooding into North Korea. Chinese forces drove the American and UN forces southward, back across the 38th parallel, and by spring 1951, the Americans had pushed to the 38th parallel once again.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today Newsmo.